Welcome to Match Day Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. These are the players arriving a little bit earlier on. Big congratulations to our women's team who have won their game against Leicester 4-0 this afternoon, which is the reason why we do have a little bit of a shorter Match Day Live show for you today, as we are less than half an hour away from kick-off today. And there is that man, Erling Haaland, arriving at Anfield. You're seeing Ilkay Gundogan arriving there, who is in the team today. So Ilkay Gundogan is the only change from the team that beat Southampton in our last Premier League game. You can see the full team lineup now on your screen there. And this is the Liverpool team arriving a little bit earlier as well. So the Liverpool team... Welcome! Hi everybody! Welcome to Match Day Live. So we are 26 minutes away from today's game against Liverpool. So it is a bit of a shorter show for today. And so that does line me up nicely to introduce some of our guests for today's shorter show. It is Paul Dickov, Shaun Wright-Phillips and Shaun Goater. Welcome everybody.
The shorter show, yes.
The Shauns on one side, the Scots on the other. Lovely to have you all. So we've had the team news already. Shaun, one change. Ilkay Gundogan comes in. One change from the last Premier League game, should I say. What do you make of the starting 11 today?
It's very, very strong. I don't think City can ever field a weak team, to be honest with you. I think all the players on the bench are good enough to start in this game, but I just think he's gone with Gundogan for reasons, especially he's running in from deep areas to catch that midfield off guard, because I think that's where Liverpool have been very weak this season. They haven't really been following runners, and it almost seems like they don't have the legs they used to have in the middle areas. So I think if City dominate the ball, which we know they do, but in those middle areas, it should be a good game for us to win.
Yeah, there has been a lot of talk about that Liverpool midfield as perhaps being one of the issues that they're having this season. Of course, there's also been a lot of talk about our forward line goats, as there always is. So today, Bernardo, Haaland and Foden. What do you make of that kind of... And of course, you know, everybody else that attacks. So what do you make of those three today?
Yeah, it's really exciting. You know, Foden is one of those players. He always shows up against Liverpool. So it's another nice one. You see that Liverpool, Trent not being a starter because Foden seems to have the better of him. It looks like Milner may be the one playing in that position. But outside of possession is the energy he brings in terms of pressing. And I think it's going to be key for City out of possession, that can we win that ball back immediately? Because you know Liverpool, they've got one or two players in their defensive line that could hit the sort of long passes to create counter-attacks for them. So it'll be interesting like how we play and do that counter press.
And then looking towards the back, Paul, so obviously John Stones, Kyle Walker still injured. So we've gone Akanji, Diaz, Ake and Cancelo. What side do you think Cancelo is on?
He probably plays a number 10. It's going to be interesting. You know, I think it was the Southampton game a couple of weeks ago when Akanji was more right back, but in possession it was more of like a back three. Yeah. With Akanji, Diaz, Ake, because he can push out to the left back as well. And we know Cancelo's going to bomb on and tuck in. So I think in possession it'll be more of a back three. If Cancelo gets caught outside the pitch, we've got Rodri in there that can shuffle along. But also, in saying that, Ake could play left back and Cancelo could play right back. You know, the players in the team are so flexible in the system that they can play. But I think it's interesting talking about Phil Foden there as well. You know, I think a couple of seasons ago, Phil Foden really tore James Milner apart. James Milner actually should have got sent off in the game. He ended up getting taken off before he got sent off. So there's going to be battles all over the pitch, but I just look at the energy we've got in the team. Shaun mentioned it before, especially in the middle of the park. They'll have to be way too much for them.
Yeah, I thought Akanji as well was phenomenal when he did what we say there, when he moved into that position. So really love the options that we have in our defence at the minute. Right, we're going to have a look now, because it is a little bit of a short show. We're going to move on now. This is the Liverpool starting 11 for today as well. You'll see there that James Milner does start. There he is. You mentioned him a second ago, Paul, about the fact that he did nearly get sent off. Well, he should, in our opinion, he should have got sent off. So the Liverpool team there, it is quite a different team to the team that got beaten by Arsenal last week. 6 changes for Liverpool from that game, although some of them are forced, of course, due to injuries. Some big injuries that they've got. Obviously, Luis Diaz injured and still not with them. So, Shaun, what do you make of Liverpool's starting 11? 6 changes from the team that got beat off Arsenal.
Well, what I get of it is I would say it is a weaker side to that team that lost against Arsenal, but that's, at the same time, I don't think Klopp could have did anything else, to be honest with you. I think even if he fields his strongest team, there's still a lot of weak areas which City would have exploited, especially the way we overload the fullback areas. So personally, Trent would have been in for a hard game, but I know he was supposedly injured, but somehow he's mysteriously or magically turned up on the bench. So I'm still a bit confused with that one, because for them, he's their best passer of the ball. So if you're fit enough to be on the bench, sort of thing, what you should be fit enough to play. So it's an interesting way he's gone with things. But if they lose the midfield, as I said, and isolate Milner, they could be in for a hard time today.
Yeah, I think we all were interested when we saw Trent on the bench. Surprised us all in the studio when we saw that news. Also, Darwin Núñez is on the bench today as well, Shaun. Obviously, big things were thought of him by Liverpool in the summer, but we've not quite seen. Of course, he had the red card. He missed a few games. What do you think about the fact that he's on the bench today, though?
Yeah, it's a big call by Klopp. I mean, clearly he doesn't trust him in this big game because, he's one of the signings he's brought in to help Liverpool go to the next level, and he's just not feeling him in terms of this game. But, this is the sort of game. He seems the sort of player that will be, he gets rolled up, and he's one of those that plays on the edge a little bit, and I think you get the best out of him. When I see him at his best is when he's a bit on the edge. I mean, Paul will probably know more. I was never on the edge as a player, but Paul will know more about that. But I think it's a big call to not start him. But at the same time, I think Firmino had to start because I think he was the player that's just been in good form.
Are you a fan of Firmino?
Yeah, big fan. I think I fell off the edge a few times though. But I think that Núñez one, it makes sense for Liverpool and Klopp. Darwin Núñez, he likes to run in behind, doesn't he? I don't think the strongest part of his game is holding the ball up. For Liverpool to get anything out of the game today, they're going to have to retain the ball when they're in possession. Firmino, for me, I just think he's class, whether he's scoring goals or not. Big part of them, obviously the two wide players. Jota will probably play wide. Salah and Firmino, he's the one that will come in deep and sit in there and get the ball and keep things ticking for them, look to play the wide players in. So. But yeah, look, it's still a strong Liverpool team, especially with that front three. But I look around at little SWP over there and mentioned about the fullbacks. Andy Robertson's just coming back, yeah. Milner, and we love to overload and get 2v1s. And then the middle of the park, I'm slightly surprised Jordan Henderson's not playing, but I think that's Klopp admitting that it is an ageing midfield with Thiago and Fabinho in there and Harvey Elliott with, that youthful enthusiasm, the energy that he's got in there. So there's going to be battles all over the pitch, but that midfield three on both teams, I think, is about where the game's going to get won.
Yeah.
We were seeing some shots of Salah warming up there. He's, one of, the best players in the Premier League, certainly for the last few seasons, if not the best, in the last few seasons as well. Having a bit of a different start to this season, much like the rest of his teammates, but he does have a phenomenal record against us, Shaun. He also got that hat-trick midweek. Do you think that hat-trick midweek is going to have boosted his confidence levels for the Premier League?
Yeah, I think it would definitely boost any striker's confidence levels, but I think what he's brought to his game now, especially with Mane not in the picture anymore, what he's brought to his game now, if you see his assists that he's put up this season, it's way more than Mo Salah would normally do. And it seems almost like he's kind of replaced a bit of selfishness with unselfishness. And we're calling it him not being informed, but he's just bringing something else to the game. I think in a way he's just looking more at his players, but we're looking more at him. Well, not me, or not City fans, but the Premier League and outsiders are looking more at him to put the same numbers up he has done, where I think his responsibility this year is a bit different.
What do you think, Shaun, is the difference with Liverpool this season? Because, of course, they were so close to doing that quadruple that we heard so much about last season. And then they've started this season looking almost like a different team. What's happened?
Well, they're burnt out. Just say it as it is, they're burnt out.
Well, yeah, they do work extremely hard. I mean, we hear that, Klopp has really pushed them all the time, non-stop in training. But I think Mane was such a huge part for them in terms of a team player, worked hard, was brilliant at the press, scored goals as well, was unselfish. And I think that's a huge part that, I'm sort of answering your question by sort of complimenting City. City's brilliant in their recruitment. We've gone and added players and taken us to another level. They've recruited players, but they haven't as of yet. I'm sure in the long term they will improve and get better, but I think Mane was so important to them in terms of what he brought to the table. So it's really a compliment to City, and it just shows you how City's recruited. And we've gone, because I thought Jesus going, Sterling going, and I thought to myself, well, we're getting rid of some goals and some quality there. And then, you know, we've gone and played and scored goals, and Haaland's come in and you just thought, wow, like, I didn't think you'd score all these goals, but it's been brilliant.
But don't you think it goes back to the conversation we always come around, where it is no matter how good of the player is for City, City never rely on an individual player. Like, even if he's out the team, there's a player that comes in that does a job as good as they can in their way, and it still benefits the team, whereas I don't feel like a lot of other teams have that.
Yeah.
It's that squad depth, isn't it?
Yeah.
That separates us from everybody else. But going back to Mane, he's a huge loss for them. We know, especially at Anfield, Liverpool, and they will try and do it today, but they'll want to press from the front, they'll want to get in people's faces. Every time I watched Liverpool play last season, Mane was the one that always set that press off. You know, Salah, for as good as he is, doesn't really want to press. Jota can do it, but it's not the main part of his game. Diaz will be a big miss as well, because he worked hard. He set the press off them earlier on in the season. But Mane, he was the main. People kept talking about the goals Salah was getting, breaking all sorts of records the last couple of years. But for me, Mane was always the one in that team that if he wasn't playing, they really missed him. And I do think one player shouldn't make a difference, but how Liverpool want to play and how Klopp wants to play, he's a huge miss for them.
Yeah, he does appear to have been a bigger miss than perhaps we all realised. Now, a man that would be a huge miss for City, but no worries, because he will not be, because he has just signed a new contract. He will be with us until 2027. Yes, Phil Foden signed a new deal this week. I'm sure I'm the same as you all when I got a ping through on my phone from the City app telling me, and I had a little squeal because I'm so happy that he will be with us until 2027. Shaun, what did you make of the news when you heard that?
I was delighted. I was over the moon, to be honest. I did something with him earlier in the week, and that is where he had come from. And first thing I said to him when he got here, because we was waiting for him for half an hour, I said, listen, Phil, I've missed my train now. It's like, sorry, I didn't know you guys were waiting. But we had a good laugh, me, him and Nadem, and he deserves everything he gets. And for me, he deserves that and a lot more, the way he's been playing and the type of person he is.
Oh, I'm excited. I've not seen that video yet. That'll be coming out soon. We'll find out what they were up to. But there has been some sensational content on all City's channels this week to do with Phil Foden's new contract. My favourites especially being when they've compared the picture of him as a ball boy to obviously the player with all the medals now, Shaun, because his journey has just been quite spectacular.
Spectacular. Just to think, you know, you got ball boys. I mean, because I'm around the academy, I know that the boys are so, you know, excited to be ball boys, but to think that Phil Foden was a ball boy, he's come through the system, a talented player, has earned his right. You know, Pep was adamant he isn't going anywhere in terms of on loan or anything like that. He knew he was going to be here for the future, and you know, his numbers that he churns out in terms of scoring goals, assisting, how he plays. You know, he's always doing something in the game, some bit of skill or trickery where we're just still like amazed and we're thinking, how old is this kid like? We're not saying he's not 30. This kid's like, what, 20, 21? He's bloody young. And he's a brilliant player. So I'm so pleased to see that he's got this contract and that he's going to be with us. And I hope it's right to the end till he's, I don't know, as long as he wants to play, he's with us, because he's brilliant to watch. Yeah,
he's young and he's got another 5 years with us at least. And I, for one, hope he becomes a one-club man. Yes, 11 major trophies for our Phil Foden already. He also has a phenomenal record at Anfield. So he has scored in his last two Premier League away games at Liverpool. Only 2 visiting players have ever done more than that, and that is Andy Cole and Christian Benteke have scored in 3 consecutive away games at Anfield. And do you know what? After some of his performances recently, you would not bet against him getting a goal today, of course. Here we're seeing his first goal. He's just got a phenomenal record against them, but also he's in incredible form at the minute as well, Paul. He is, and people keep talking about him being one of the best young players in the world. He's one of the best players. Full stop. You know, and his levels this season have just went up a notch again. And I put him in the category, you know, how highly we all think of KDB as in his importance to the team. I think he's now at the level that he's as important to Kevin De Bruyne. And, you know, the big players turn up in the big games, and he's always done that.
You know, the Liverpool games over the last couple of years, home and away, he's been the best player on the pitch. He took this game here, he just took it by the scruff of the neck in the space of 20 minutes and completely blew Liverpool away. And I think there was only 21 there. But he just seems to get better and better, whatever position he plays. You know, I think we'll probably see him playing in the left today, with Bernardo Silva on the right, but you can put him anywhere in the pitch. You can play him in the middle, you can play him as a 10, he's played as a false 9, he's played in the right and played in the left. And the biggest compliment I can give him is he doesn't look out of place. Whatever position he plays in, he still has the same impact. And he's as good wherever he is. But he's just... I think the club have got to take huge credit how they've handled him. I know Goats was talking about this clamour, this ridiculous clamour a few seasons ago that he had to go out and loan because he wasn't going to play. The benefits we're getting from now under Pep, but training day in, day out for a young kid with the best players in the world, we're seeing it. And he now sees himself at the same level as these best players in the world as well.
Just love the fact that he's just come all the way through on our academy. Like you say, massive, massive props to the academy and to how City have just handled him all along, like you've said, just absolutely phenomenal. So Phil Foden, congratulations on his new contract. He's going to be with us until 2027. Hooray! And if you haven't seen some of that content, you've got to get across the social media channels. Some really brilliant content and some phenomenal pictures of him as well from this week. There is going to be more coming out this week as well. So we are about 11 minutes away from today's Premier League kickoff against Liverpool. Now, one of the big chats that we've been hearing a lot this week, and yourself, Mr. Goater, have mentioned in the past that you are looking forward to seeing a battle today between Erling Haaland and Virgil van Dijk.
Yes, I am. You know, as a lover of the game, you want to see the best against the best, and you know, I think Virgil van Dijk, this season has not been on his greatest of form. I think the last game, he's starting to come somewhat to his form. But this game, he'll get right into that mood because he'll want to send a message out to the world that I'm still a great defender, I'm still one of the best defender or the best defender. Haaland will be saying, I want to be sharing this against Liverpool. And I just think, 11 minutes or so away? I'm just so excited because, again, you're seeing a machine in Haaland in terms of how he is as a player. Doesn't touch the ball for a while, and then the next thing, it's a killer pass from one of our players, and he's having the magical touch and scoring. So it'll be really interesting to see who gets the better of each other.
Yeah, it's a fascinating battle. Like you say, Van Dijk perhaps not at the levels that he has been for the last few seasons. He does have this nuts record though, Shaun. 68 Premier League games unbeaten for Liverpool at Anfield. Never lost at home in the league since he's joined them. Of course, he's going to try and have to keep that record today while he keeps Erling Haaland under control. Can he do it?
That's going to change very quickly. That's an amazing stat, to be honest. And credit to him. I think in that time that he's been there, he's been phenomenal. But like Goat said, apart this season, this year, we're seeing a different Virgil. And I think if they're both going to try and play that high line that they played in the Community Shield, because there was a few times that Haaland would have been through, this time they will get him through and they will get punished for it because they get away with it a lot, I think.
I think the dilemma that not just Klopp and Van Dijk must have any opposition team is if you keep Haaland quiet and you concentrate on him. Exactly. We spoke about Foden, we've got Gundo, we've got Bernardo Silva, you've got Kevin De Bruyne. You know, you can't just focus on one player in our team. And even if they do keep Erling quiet, we've seen in the Dortmund game, which is probably one of the quietest games he's had for us, because they defended so well. And then the ball from Cancelo is a ridiculous finish. You know, you can't defend against that. Yeah. And there will be moments in the game with the quality we've got that will happen.
Now, Paul Dickov is telling you all this through gritted teeth today because he is here in the studio and he's not around the other side of the world in Cape Town. Of course, he is usually the one that travels the world. But this time, well, he's let the trophy go for once and he's allowed Joleon Lescott to travel to Cape Town. And this is his thoughts ahead of today's game.
Yeah, excited. Always excited when I see the team move. There's never a bad option Pep to pick. No surprises in there for me. So hopefully it's a win.
Okay, what do you expect for the game today?
Same as always, intense atmosphere. It's hostile a little bit at Anfield, but exciting nevertheless. I'm expecting us to dominate possession, score goals, and hopefully keep a clean sheet. So I'm going for 2-0.
So we are in Cape Town. What do you make of Cape Town so far? The atmosphere, what we have been doing, the festival?
Yeah, it's been amazing, to be fair. The atmosphere has been great. There's more fans now to watch the games, but there's loads of experienced fans as well, lots of knowledge of the club, which is great to see. So hopefully they have a good time.
Oh, it's a tough life for some, Jolien, just enjoying the sunshine out there in Cape Town. Jolien is, of course, out there on the trophy tour, which these guys know very, very well. So he's predicting a 2-0 win there. Dickie, what do you think? We're 7 minutes from kick-off.
I think we're going to batter them. I do. I'm going to go... Do you want the predictions now?
Yeah, go in, please. You've teed it up.
Yeah. I'm going to go 4-1, Man City.
OK. But with a dominant... it will be dominant 4, but with a dominant display as well.
A dominant display. 4-0 to the last minute, and we'll give them a consolation goal. There you go.
Oh, no, because I don't want to lose the clean sheet for my fantasy team. Come on. So that is a 4-1 prediction from Paul Dickov, 2-0 from Jolien Lescott. The Shauns, Shaun Goater, what are you...
Well, a respectful 3-0 for City. Yeah, respectful. Listen, we want to... If we score 4 or 5, then... we'll be thinking, when we leave the stadium, I think respectful 3-0 is what we're looking at. I'm the same with Paul. I think that I just have this feeling today that the form we're going to be in and how we're going to address today's game. I think Klopp will be aggressive in this game because I think he feels the league is somewhat done. Whether that's disguised or not, I think he'll try to be aggressive and go, and there's all-out attack, and I think it's just really going to play to our hands.
I don't think he does think the league's over. I do think that is some sort of mind game.
As well, exactly.
Yeah. Because, yes, no. Right. Shaun, what do you think?
Just
Final?
3-1.
3-1.
It's not... I think we'll dominate possession. I don't think it's going to be as easy as I'd like it to be because I feel like Liverpool always just turn up against City, no matter whether they're on a bad run or a good run. They always seem to put on a performance against us, but I still think we win 3-1.
Yeah, it does feel like they could use this as an opportunity to kickstart their season. Do you think that the 7-1 victory against Rangers changes anything?
No, because I think Man City and Rangers in performance and ability are light years apart. So I think they know that it's a complete different mission they're coming up against. Lovely.
Well, the Shauns, thank you so much. Paul, thank you. We will be back with you at half-time talking about everything that happens in that first 45 minutes. You can see the players are there now in the tunnel. So you get your full match commentary for today's game. Honestly, it's the only place to go to. Anywhere else is going to be infuriating today. Get our commentary on the Man City app with the wonderful Alistair Mann, and he is joined by Michael Brown even. If you haven't yet, download the Manchester City app. That is the place to get your commentary. Oh, it's a big game. Come on, Blues. We'll be back at half-time. Enjoy it, and over to Ali and Michael Brown.